Right. Hi everyone. So today we have Mayank from Flipkart joining us in the Blue Protocol community podcast. So as you all know, so we run this podcast especially talking to Infosec leaders by gaining that perspective, what is happening with respect to AI ecosystem. So today Mayank is going to share his viewpoints and perspectives, how he sees AI internally and in the community, and going to share a lot of insights over how the transformation is impacting InfoSec community on a whole. Thank you, Mayank. Thanks a lot for joining us today. Maybe you can briefly introduce yourself and then we can get started with the
Yeah.
conversation.
So, Gurcharan, my introduction is very simple. I have served 17 years only in cybersecurity industry. Uh, my freshers time was I was a SOC analyst. Then I graduated to become SOC lead. Then I became a SOC manager. For people who doesn't know the concept of SOC, it's Security Operations Center. Is to monitor the traffic or the firewalls and the IDS and IPS of the world 24 cross 7. Clients are quite familiar with this because they uh, leverage this service across the world. Okay, whether European clients or US clients or even Indian clients also, per se. Then I graduated to take up a career in pre-sales and architect in security. Okay, for some time. In and out of services company and consulting companies. Okay. Um, then I think there came a time that I understood the systems to an extent that I can build one. So I founded my own company also with someone else. Okay. We built a cloud security solution, which today in the world is known as CNAP, which is a combination of cloud security posture management, workload protection, and container protection. Okay. Right. So I took an exit as a founder. The team still continues. The company is still existing. I joined consulting for some time and I joined a large e-commerce company recently. Uh, right now I'm leading strategy and security engineering for them. Though I cannot share the specific details on the projects we are working on, but I can still share that the problems industries are facing and what imaginatively we are thinking in the AI space when it comes to security. And when I say imagination now, I think world will be left with only imagination to think because system will get built on its own,
Yeah.
right? Or we can use technologies like LLMs or agents in the back end are known as orchestrators, which are older concepts. Okay. Right. So, having said that, uh, we want to build fast because of the board pressures. It's just not happening to larger companies. It is happening to startups also. Okay. Startups who were building non-AI systems also now have to pivot AI, build AI systems. There's no choice. Why? I want to actually tell a reason before I go into the history of which hardly people are aware of. Okay. Uh, the reason here is very simple. Okay. That I was telling my wife, she asked one question very simply. Why AI systems have crossed a threshold? She understands. She comes from a medical field, being a doctor. She understands that academically there is a threshold that a system's study will cross. I said there are two reasons. Okay. The first reason is that we have crossed the threshold of scaling the computes. So GPUs, people think are new to the world. For people who are gamers, it's not new to them. So I have been a gamer. So I always was vouching or wanting good GPU so that I can play good games with graphics. But I think there was an academia threshold to build GPUs which can be trained on billions or millions of parameters, okay, and which can be made small, okay. So we have crossed that threshold first. Okay. The second threshold we have crossed is the algorithm threshold. To simply put for the people to understand this podcast. Okay. Right. When I say algorithm threshold, we have actually crossed the mathematical threshold. There are equations which were unsolved or which were not optimized or not cost efficient or not ready to train millions and billions of parameters. They have been tweaked over past few years, over a decade. It has been happening over a decade. People think it just happened in 2022 when ChatGPT got launched. No, it happened over a decade. Okay. So two things fundamentally had changed as per my understanding. The compute and the mathematics threshold have crossed. Okay. But again, I want to actually revisit the history. Okay. The history is very simple. People should go back and actually read on Wikipedia also. It's very simple source to read. Okay. There were scientists in Russia, Marco, who challenged one more scientist in Russia that free will cannot be predicted. Okay. So he started experimenting. He said that can systems be dependent in mathematics to predict the probability of sequence of events? That is a very trivial definition of Markov chain. Okay. But in his paper, at his last line, I remember that last line also being a so-called geek of the house, though I don't accept that term, right? That he was not interested in the application of the Markov. He wanted to prove somebody wrong. So he stopped at it. The second milestone which happened was the creation of the nuclear bomb, which was the Manhattan Project. Okay, there were two scientists, though basically everybody has seen a movie called Oppenheimer, but there were actually two scientists who were actually working in the background per se, was Ullman and von Neumann. Ullman was sick on bed, there's a story, and he was playing solitaire. That made him understood that you can actually predict sequence of the hydrogen bomb or the neutrons per se with the help of an analogy from a solitaire. Okay. So that was interesting for me to know also. He went to von Neumann and von Neumann and him put together a formula for people to understand that yes, this is where Markov chain comes in. They have applied Markov chain. They predicted with what factor, K factor. People can read about what is K factor. These neutrons can be predicted. And when they cross a threshold, and people would have seen this statistical graph like this. Okay. So when it increases by one, the K factor, it becomes a bomb. When it is one, it is not a bomb. It is a stable fusion program. Okay. It is less than one, it is nothing. Right? So then the next milestone came. Two people were doing PhDs in US. Maybe I am aware of major events which I have read. Maybe there are more events similar to this. Okay, is people who created Yahoo. So they built a search engine based on Markov chain only. That how do you rank the pages? Okay. And I remember, if I remember correctly, SoftBank invested in them, which which still exist. Okay, right? And because dot com bubble was there, so they exploded. Yahoo exploded. Okay, but interestingly, they didn't solve one problem, which the Sergey Brin and the Larry Page of the Googles of the world solved it in the garage. Was how do you rank the page rightly so that the user can get the right result in one go or in less number of iterations? This is where they use the um, near 100% correct method of Markov chain in Google. Okay. So my messaging to the community is to SOC or security community is also is, and not only to cloud, it is to the application security community also, to the GRC community also, to the data protection community also, to the security operations center community also, that this is not new. This existed since 1900. It came to Manhattan, it came to Yahoo, it came to Google, but it has hit a threshold. Okay. The threshold was uh, crossed by two milestones. One milestone was that the mathematics behind it, I'll not go into the maths, right? But for the people's understanding, they want to, they're really interested, they can go into the math papers of DeepSeek or ChatGPT, they will realize, okay, ultimately that it's just tweaking of few parameters in the equation which led to optimization and better training of engines. Okay. But the foundation was laid by machine learning world and deep learning world only, right? This everybody has to understand. Okay. But to cross that threshold where where we could not build LLMs or agentics, okay, the equations were not being tweaked. So now the mathematicians somehow worked it out. Okay. The second problem which was solved was GPUs, and GPUs, as I shared, uh, are not new to the world. The gamers will know it. Okay, right? So GPUs cross that threshold of training the model either in the pre-training mode or in the post-training mode with millions and now billions of parameters. Recently, a drop happened, DeepSeek v3.3.1, and they are claiming, though the paper is not out. I was searching for the paper yesterday. Okay, that they have trained it of 650 billion parameters. That's huge, and that too for a LLM engine which they have completely open sourced.
Open source, yeah.
Right? That's huge, right? Though they will not talk about the data on which they train for several reasons. I think earlier they have published their architecture. So I am expecting they'll publish the architecture. So my messaging to security community is that understand the fundamentals first. Understand the history behind it. If the curiosity dies, you will not be able to apply this science which is emerging right now or the technology which is emerging right now into the systems of security, right? Yes, there are other concepts on which AI world depends on probability, statistics, etc. You need to know them also. Okay. On a conceptual level, if you're not really interested in becoming a mathematician or AI research engineer per se, you just want to build systems because building systems is becoming too easy, right? The business problem here is now shifting from technology problem or the history is the pressure from the board for startups and for both large multinationals. But the problem lies is that people have started using out of the box solution. To build agents, they're using drag and drop. Okay, correct? To build LLM based security system, they're using, they're not using, they're just integrating the models without understanding. And that is why sometimes the agent protocol, which they have built with drag and drop, because they don't understand the fundamentals, or sometimes they don't understand the security procedure with which the right output will come. Hence, the agents are not giving the right output. Okay, because again, there is a pressure to build fast. Vibe coding has kicked in, right? Okay, drag and drop has kicked in, right? And then the integration has kicked in. Okay, I will plug in Gemini 2.5. I plug in Cloudy. I'll plug in DeepSeek v3.1. I will plug in GPT-5 and I'm done. No, you need to know the fundamentals so that you can actually know that if tomorrow you have to scale the system. And I'll give you specific examples also in SOC especially. Okay. I have to scale the system. How do I do that? Okay. I'll take one example right now and then I'll take a pause. Then you can ask one few questions. There was a problem I thought of that, let's say, behind the scenes, there are a lot of threat intelligence sources, right? There are a lot of products in the market. Like in India, there's a company called CloudSec, had been existing over a decade. And globally, there have been existing a company called Recorded Future. Okay. I thought that, and when I looked at the dashboard, it was almost gibberish. It was in different language and they were recording dark web chatter. Okay, for any company, they will be recording dark web chatter. It could be any keyword, JP Morgans of the world, British Airways of the world, right? It could be Samsungs of the world, right? They could be using it also. Can I put a dashboard which can generate LLM-based generated report from that raw data? Okay, right? And I asked my SOC analyst, right? Then how much time it takes for you to go into two different dashboards and make that report manually? So they gave me a X number, let's say 3 to 4 days, and then they used to send it to the business unit. So I thought, okay, this qualifies to be a problem if a report can be generated in seconds because these data is being reported to SOAR, which is a brother of Sim. Okay, I'll rather say, okay, right? Which does almost the automation of Sim, which Sim cannot do. Okay, right? So if you can pick up this raw data from source and train your model in such a way that your Gemini 2.5 or your GPT-5 can give you summaries and you can construct a good dashboard. People go and log in and only download reports and send it to stakeholders. Done. Okay. But my fundamental problem still lies here. The fundamental problem is they just integrated. Okay. And that is why when I ask the question, how you will scale it? When the dark web chatter in the behind the curtains will increase, how you will scale it? And second question I ask is how do you optimize it? They don't have the answers because they don't understand the fundamentals. Right? This is where the science lies and the technologies lies. This is where the opportunity lies to become an AI SOC engineer. You will be truly called as AI SOC engineer when you understand the fundamentals and you are able to scale it and optimize it and train it and use it for business purposes. And it should not break. The system should not break at all. Okay, right? Right now, they're happy. The outputs are coming. But I know the chatters are going to increase. The tokens are going to be consumed more, which means the cost is going to is going to grow. When the cost is going to grow, the business will ask you questions, right? Because it happened in the cloud world also. Initially, they promised cost efficiencies. Now the cloud bills are worry for the boards, right? I'm just trying to create an analogy right
Yeah.
here, right? So I'll take a pause here. So this is my overall take so far.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. I think given your background, you coming ground up from a SOC practitioner and now driving the strategy for one of the largest e-commerce company in India. Uh, so good to know the evolution of AI from your research and your experience. Essentially, in fact, even for the community who are part of Blue Protocol also, we are trying to simplify AI so that all these bottlenecks we can dilute and they can adopt and see the real outcome from the output, right? So I think you gave a very good example. I can recollect about this MIT research that came out a couple of weeks ago. So where a lot of Gen AI projects across enterprises, right? So
Yeah.
broadly failed because the strategy or the idea of implementation itself flawed. To say they were clueless just for the sake of testing a POC by deploying AI in a random use case, not having clarity on the outcome. Right? So that is where the challenge is. In fact, this challenge is very acute for InfoSec community like us. So that way, super helpful to understand the background you are coming from. So I am trying to understand, given the threshold, like you called out, right? We have reached. So before and after, right? So mine before the threshold, if somebody in the team comes to you with a problem, say, I want to quickly automate this report from source to seam. So what can we do, right? So now after this threshold, it's a completely different uh, capability altogether in hands of the people inside the organization. So I'm just tell me how that mindset has to shift for leaders like you inside the organization to motivate these infosec people internally towards the right outcome they can really derive instead of, like you rightly said, integrating bunch of models and just sharing some output claiming that we deployed AI, this is what it looks like. Right? So I'm trying to understand how that mindset can shift at the leadership level.
Yeah. So first step I think the organization should take is run a large Gen AI literacy program. And when I say that, that is, I will strictly speaking right now for the security teams.
Yeah.
Okay. Though you can run it for the complete workforce also. Okay. But that will include a different curriculum altogether. But for security, it will include a different curriculum. Okay. So when you run a GenAI literacy program, you should teach them how these systems came into existence first. Second, you should teach them the fundamentals behind it, okay, which I spoke of earlier. I will not iterate myself. Third, you should teach them that your scalability and complexity will not be solved with integrations. Okay. Fourth, you should teach them, and I have to say this on record also, that you can do vibe coding for efficiency, but you should also do coding without vibe also. Okay, that's my message to security community. Okay, you can do uh, orchestration via drag and drops. Okay, right? Having said that, you should also know that in the security protocol in which you are orchestrating, what does each step means? Okay, so this is how organization should work towards a GenAI literacy program for security teams. Okay, I think this will solve majority of the problem of to build the systems. Okay, and also build a system which are promising in future. Okay, otherwise we'll be building non-promising systems. Right, the system, as you said, MIT study came, I also encountered, I studied, and I agree to that study, right? Because I myself is failing also, right? It's not that straightforward because there's a pressure also from business to use AI, and we have to show results, right? And the startups are also facing the heat, okay, right? So one is this, okay. Second is there should be for security leaders a genuine literacy program separately. Okay. Where they should understand not only what we are teaching to the actual workforce who are going to do the work, but they're also going to learn how do I integrate AI into my security strategy and in which they should understand they have to take a hard decision. Some problems cannot be solved with AI. You're still okay with non-AI world. They have to qualify the problems. Okay. So the business teams and the security leader have to sit together. Should I solve this problem with AI or not? Otherwise you'll be stuck in a vicious circle which we got stuck few years back with blockchain. Every problem was getting solved with blockchain. But look at right now, what has happened with blockchain. It has not replaced the ledgers. It has not replaced the central database systems. Okay. But no, AI is different from blockchain. It has crossed that threshold. Okay. Right. So these are the two things which are very important for organizations, as I believe. If you don't do Gen AI literacy program for the workforce and for the leaders, you will not scale the system. You will not build promising systems.
Got it. Makes sense. I think as we talk about the AI literacy for leaders and the community members, Mike, I want to switch the table now. So, how do you see the adversaries, attackers adopting AI? I think all of us know a lot of new phishing, TTPs, and some of the impersonation scenarios targeting a lot of organization. So, how do you see they moving rapidly in adopting AI, deploy advanced persistent threats, etc.? Just wanted to hear from you.
It's a very interesting and complex question. Okay, because I am also learning how adversaries are going to adopt or has already adopted. Because we don't know the adversaries. They are far ahead. Okay, always. Okay. I'll actually give you an example from the erstwhile world of security. In phishing, since you mentioned that word, there exists a concept called homoglyphs. Okay, in which the Russian P looks similar to English P, and you can do a business email compromise with that. Okay, people should read about homoglyphs who are in security community, and even if you belong to application or GRC, you should read about it. Okay. Now, earlier the problem was that systems were able to catch the phishings or the phishing emails because they had flaws in it. Okay. And okay, uh, somehow attackers were able to deceive the system and were able to get into the systems also. Okay. Right. They were once they were able to get into the systems, they were able to get username and password. They used to do lateral movement and then impact your crown jewels or take away your data. Okay. Right. But now the job of adversary has become too easy. Okay. Not just crafting an email, tricking the LLM or building its own LLM also. Let's say I'll not take name, there are open LLMs also. So I build my own LLM as an adversary using the other open LLMs and I start building malwares. And those malwares become 0 days. Those 0 days have not been seen in the systems. Okay. And my 0 days, which were proliferating earlier in the thousands or 10,000 as per CV's repository, okay, will become millions, may become billions also. Sorry, being a pessimistic here, but if you can code fast, you can build systems, you can code fast in malware world also. You can build an agent to generate 1 million emails which can bypass a system. So the phishing problem also has also scaled. People are not realizing that and it's already happening. So your erstwhile products, which were able to handle, let's say, few thousands, 7,000, 70,000, or 80,000 of the requests to block emails or to read the TTPs and IOCs of malwares. And that to an extent they've studied the 0 days which had been existing earlier. Okay, right? So they have trained their models, right? But now these adversaries are creating everything from scratch at very fast pace, right? So I have heard and I have seen also 0 days coming out in millions, phishing emails coming out in millions, which are not seen together and which are non-flawed. Though earlier there were flawed issues also. For simple simplicity, I'll say there were spelling issues, right? Or there were issues of how do you construct an email, right? That will not exist now. right? In malware also, sometimes somebody will do a mistake of coding in which one person can be attributed. Now the system are so agile or agent based or drag and drop based that they can build malwares without mistakes also, right? So it is not how they are using it, it is how easy it is becoming for them to use it. So that's my worry. That's my worry. Okay, though the landscape of AI security risk is another problem, but the traditional risk is also increasing. Phishing is a traditional risk, malware is a traditional risk. AI security risk we are discussing not right now, which will come to maybe if we have time. Okay, so this is my fundamental problem here.
Got it. In fact, as we focus on reducing MTTR with AI capabilities, the MTTA, mean time to attack, is also coming down from days to
Correct,
minutes. So
correct,
they are taking that as an advantage and giving tough time for the defenders to protect the
correct,
organizations.
correct. And that's why defenders have to catch up. And since you talked about defenders, now who are defenders? Defenders are operation guys. Okay. And the operation guys do not take into consideration or they do not put weightage to understand the AI word because they are too busy. Okay. If they understand the AI word, that no, my adversary has gone far ahead. I have to sit with the engineering team to solve this problem. Okay, to build a system which can thwart an attack, which can actually predict a 0 day or find out some anomalies in the system which we have not ever seen earlier. Okay, or a phishing email which is so perfect, still we are able to catch it. Okay, and even the product providers who are working in this domain have to think in that direction. Okay, that the scale and the complexities are changing. Fundamentally, if you ask me, I was explaining the operation guys also in my community, which are my peers, uh, and they are the CISOs of the world and they are the security leaders of the world. That you don't know your logging architecture is also changing. And they said, what? How? I said, you know the scale at which the traffic will come. Your collectors, so called, or your databases will not be able to handle it. Okay. You do not have a bulletproof jacket for it. Right. That's the analogy I have to give to explain to leaders. Okay. Then they understood. Right. Okay. I have to reimagine my logging architecture also. Because they are too much busy in operations. They have to handle one phishing email or 10 phishing emails. They have to handle 5 malwares in a day and they go home. Right. And this is happening across industry. Right? It's not, just not India. It could be happening in Europe also. It can be happening in Southeast Asia also. It could be happening in US also. But at the same time, I'm saying the people who are building the security engineering product have to take into account all these directions and also the operation people have to understand the importance of it.
Got it, Mike. I think makes sense. Now, coming back, as you're calling out some of the challenges, so where do you think especially the defenders, or the operational uh, community folks, right? So, to adopt AI, how they can really solve the problem, or what are the low-hanging problems that can really bring them on par with the adversaries who are moving super fast, right? So, just from your so far experience and what are changing things in the overall InfoSec community.
I actually want to take baby steps here. Otherwise, we'll not build promising systems as I iterated earlier. I want operation guys to table their problems in front of engineering who are building the system. And they can build the systems fast because of vibe coding and drag and drop of agentic world. Okay. Right. And all via integration of LLMs. Okay. Right. If they say that my I want to defend against MTTTA, right? And I want to reduce my MTTTC and MTTTR significantly in fraction of seconds. Right now it's in hours. Sometimes it is in minutes, right? That is a problem that I want to solve. Okay. Second problem, though I'm shifting away from the security operations center community, but we are still in the security world. The application security guys, okay, have to come on table and say, I have too many business units to handle. I have too many vulnerabilities to which I have sent emails or automate via Jira and still evangelize to patch it. Can I? So that's my problem of evangelization and getting it patched. Okay. But can I get a system which can do the pen testing with the context of the code? Okay. And these days, this term is known as agentic pen testing. Okay. Right. Which can at least do the pen testing on my behalf, generate the report, and I can send the result fast to the stakeholders and only work on explaining the issues to them. Their subject matter expertise are still being leveraged because AI will not explain the problem to the engineer who doesn't know security, right? There are developers who are building applications for the business, they don't know security. Even the AI has generated the report, done the event testing. The application guy or AppSec guy has still have to explain the report to them, right? And get it passed. So there they should spend more time on evangelization and getting it patched fast instead of pen testing, instead of generating report, right? So this is the second problem I'm speaking of. Third problem I think is the problem of summarization. Okay, putting it on a broader bucket. Okay, we play with a lot of raw data. Okay, you go in the SIM world. Okay, you go in the SOAR world. How do you summarize your data, which can be disseminated to business units? Okay, and they can use it very fast to act on it. Okay, so you have to build systems. I'll not take names of the system which we have built that can take ingest the raw data. LLM can summarize it. You can segregate it business unit wise. Okay, it could be threat intel, it could be dark web chatter, etc. Right? And you can send it to the business unit stakeholder and get the problem solved. So your subject matter expertise still lies. Right? This is the third problem statement I think a security engineer should solve. Okay. If I have to think more and more, it will become imaginative that may not exist in the world, right? Because now I was telling my family because I'm studying this very closely that we are becoming like writers or we are becoming like creative thinkers now. AI will do the job for us, but the creativity will lie with us in the security world also to build the systems. Okay. For example, the first problem everyone is tackling right now is how do I replace the L1 operations in SOC, right? Uh, I counterintuitively in the devil's advocate shoes rather want to say that you can automate a L1 operation, which is a routine job, which is an automation job. But how does LLM and agentic world helps? This had been existing for 10 years. We have automated L1 earlier also, but still people exist on L1 layers, right? Right. Do you want to automate L2 and L3? Do you want to automate incident responder job? Okay, that is where the dollar value lies. Okay, dollar value lies in two buckets. One, incident has to be prevented. Okay, the second, incident has happened. and you have to reduce the damage. Okay. I rather focus on as a practitioner or as a engineering guy on solving the L2 and L3 problem. That's my personal opinion. Though people want to experiment first with L1 SOC to be automated. Because they want to see a case study, the business wants to see a case study, which is okay with, I agree, that okay, my routine operations are automated. My cost is decreased where I've outsourced the SOC, right? Right. But bigger problem is if you have crossed the threshold in AI, why not solve the L2 and L3 problem and still keep human in the loop? The SMEs will be into the picture, okay?
Yeah.
Because incident response is the problem, big problem. So I think on a very high level, I'll take a pause here. These are the things I'm thinking on, and there are other projects also on personally I'm working on, which I publish regularly. Okay, uh, but I don't know whether they will see the sunlight of next year or not, because not everything is practical. Not everything is industry adoptable. Not everything is making sense in terms of dollars for the management to implement. Okay, these could be your baby projects, right? Maybe they'll see maybe the sunlight of another day, right? I hope I was able to answer your
No,
question.
no, I think certainly, Mike, in fact, a lot of insights for even builders like us, not just for InfoSec community folks. Super helpful. Yeah, in the interest of time, maybe I want to have one more question before we wrap this up, right? So, as you know, we have a lot of defenders in this Blue Protocol community. So everybody is now aspiring to grow in their respective careers, right? So, given the threshold we discussed on AI and a lot of things are changing and how to apply the context, impact on the overall outcomes, right? So, give some tips to the folks, right? So, how they can quickly navigate in the new macro trend of AI in the respective career paths.
Oh, okay. I'll actually start from fundamentals. First, they should apply AI not in stock world. They should apply AI in their normal world. Okay. For example, if I'm planning a trip, okay, am I able to plan a trip via LLM? Then I learn how LLM works, at least as a user. Okay. Right. Then their mind will start thinking that how can you use a LLM in a security investigation? Can I draw a flowchart of an attack which has happened in my organization via LLM? And instead of drawing it using a PPT, right? Okay. So first thing is learn the usage of LLM as a basic user. Very important. This is what first I did myself. Even though I had a machine learning background, deep learning background also, I had the concepts with me. But no, I wanted to use it first, become a consumer, and then go into the applications of security, right? Second thing is that they should know, and I am for the freshers who are entering the market, okay, and I'm being upfront here for them. Though they want to ride the bandwagon of AI, they first have to learn the security fundamentals. If you don't know how a L1 to L3 SOC analyst workflow works, how you build the AI system which automates or which is agentic in nature, right? Right. This is the advice first for people either who are experienced that use LLMs as generic users, and the second advice is for the freshers. Okay. Then I believe that they should take into account uh, that they have to be creative in thinking in terms of what problems they should solve. They should talk to each other. The AppSec should talk to Security Operations Center. Security Operations Center should talk to Data Protection. Data Protection should talk to GRC. It has to be a square now. right? We are not square, we are in silos. These are four straight lines, no, these are four lines in different directions. It has to come together as a square, okay? Right? When they come in a square, they will actually in the square put dots of problems they want to solve. When you have problems on table which gives you ROI in terms of two things. One, it will make your operations efficient, okay? Because it will reduce how you work fast, how can you use security systems to reduce your fatigue, okay? Second, it will also solve novel problems for them. People say zero-day exploitability is solved. I don't believe it. That is why it is zero day. A lot of companies providers claims zero day is solved. No, it is not solved. Zero day is zero day. Otherwise, it is first day, right? That's my
Yeah.
analogy, right? Otherwise, it is first day. It is known to you. Why there is a zero behind that vulnerability? It is not known. So solve that problem. Okay. So in short, that is my advice. Because otherwise, this world is catching up so fast, you will not miss the bus. This is a bullet train, or this is a supersonic plane. Okay. Models are dropping like left and right and center, and people don't know where to go, what to do. They are just somehow building the system which works partially and which works 25%. But we have to think of future which are promising systems.
Got it, Mike. I think thanks a lot. I think super useful insights. The attention they need to give in building the fundamentals to how to apply in the real world experiences, then bring it to the application for the security use case. I think this is very insightful. Thanks a lot once again, Mike, for giving your time
No
and
problem.
discussing the real world challenges, how people can adopt and apply AI in the Defender workflows. Thanks a lot once
No
again,
problem.
Mike. Yeah.
No problem.